for watching another video from GoEngineer. This video is on using Geomagic inside of SOLIDWORKS to take a scanned model and reverse engineer a side plate cover to a 1974 SL70 Honda. First off, you need to install the Geomagic and make sure the Geomagic add-in is checked inside of SOLIDWORKS add-ins. Next, we need to check the import settings to make sure that you don't have enabled 3D interconnect checked. Make sure you uncheck that. From there, we go in and start a new part from scratch, making sure that we use the right units or the same units that the model was scanned in. From there, we can use the Geomagic tool to import the scan model. Now you notice how fast the scan model comes in with Geomagic. A large model that's 50 megs can come in seconds. From here you can see the model was scanned. The model that was scanned was really an old broken side plate from my SL70. It's got holes in the top. Really the scanner created the holes in the top, but I left the sticker on the top. You see the sticker. So I want to go in and duplicate the original scan so I don't mess it up. So I'll use one as a backup. I can rename features. I can reorder features in Geomagic. Every feature is independent and acts as though it's a native SOLIDWORKS feature. It's kind of nice. From there, I kind of need to go in and look at establishing some planes that I can start working off of. What I really want to do is reverse engineer that top shape of the cover that's visible to the eye. So I've got these mounting bosses that I can utilize the very top tip of the mounting boss to go in and insert a Geomagic point in. Geomagic's got a nice point command. I can do a whole bunch of points in one, and I can go ahead and close out of them. I might have put an extra point on there, and seeing that they act as SOLIDWORKS features, I can just go ahead and delete it independently of the other points. And then I can go in and utilize the other points to create a sketch on. So I'll go ahead and pick those points and say create a plane. From here, I'm going to use this plane to drive another plane down to the surface that I want to start using a manual technique of tracing around the cover. Geomagic also has an automatic tracing command, but I tried using it on this cover and seeing that the scan's so bad, especially right at this level, you get too many jaggies, and I don't get the parametric type of sketch that I'd want to drive forward with, to double click on dimensions and make some subtle changes to tighten it or tweak it around a bit. So when I look at this cover, I can kind of see that it's probably three main arcs. Let me try sketching around here and see. But I think I've got three, I'll even say 3-point arcs. One that kind of starts here on the side as well. And then over here on this side. So I can kind of see three-point arcs connected to all the corner arcs, which would probably be tangents. So again, let me just go sketch these and eyeball this out. So, and again, go in and do some tangent arcs. Across the whole sketch, get another one. Maybe I should have turned off that plane that I don't really need to see now, but I'll get that later. Right now, I just want to use the simplest way to use the flyout menu to click the point and make it tangent, making sure that I've got all my tangencies. Since my last pick I was a little sloppy on and didn't get them. From here, I'd usually want to nudge the arcs around a bit just to see what I have and maybe tighten it up on the trace around the scan model, but I'm starting to like what I see here. So do a little bit more nudging and see if I can get it to be something I like a little more. I don't want to be too OCD about it, but that's okay. Let me automatically dimension it. I'm not really concerned about the locating dimensions from the origin as much as I am the arcs if I wanted to come in and start bumping them around a bit, but I like what I have here. I'll go ahead and hit the extrusion command and extrude this up. I didn't turn off my scan because I want to reference it. I'm doing a combination of utilizing Geomagic to work off the sketch, or work off the scan, I should say, and also look at, as I model it, how close I am to kind of modeling right on top of the part. So I'm just kind of eyeballing this. Maybe I can come in here and give it an exact number if I want. And I need to go in and put some draft on it. Probably need to again resort back to the scan a little on that and see if it needs to be a little more or less. Let me see, bump it up to 15. Looks like that's maybe a little too much where I started. Probably is going to work better. Doesn't have to be exact here again. So not for this application, which is nice, but I do want to get that top surface of the cover, which is going to be a little hard to do in any other tool I've seen. So in here, I just need to make one more boss extrude where I come in and use a sketch that I offset the edge and bump a second feature up off my base feature. So let's just go in and do that. I'll make the sketch, go in there and say, offset the edges of the sketch, offset them to the value that you want, and make sure that if it's not going the right direction, that you reverse it. You can also do that after the matter these days by clicking on the dimension, and there will be a reverse that comes up in the property manager. So from here, I want to extrude this up. It really could go just about any distance here. I could go above the cover, I could go below the cover, I could go halfway below the cover and cutting through part of the top of the cover. So that's the number I'll kind of try to come up with. And yeah, we need to put some draft on there. I'll use the same 12 degrees that I had on the other base feature. I think that'll work pretty good here. But from here, it really comes down to utilizing that sketch again. So I want to turn off some of my shininess so I don't glare you in the eyes with the mirrored look on my part. So let me go in and turn back on the cover. Everything's so snappy inside of Geomagic when you're working with the scans. It's really nice in that respect. So now I want to go in and use the extract freeform command with the sticker on the top and all those holes. All I really have to do is grab the surface that I want, and it projects a surface that's freeform right on there. Now, what in the middle of while I'm doing this, I can go down and look at the deviation analysis. When I look at this, I can set the deviation analysis for a tolerance that's more realistic. I want something around 15 thousandths of an inch. And you can see I'm pretty spot on the top of that cover. I could get more accurate with sliding over the accuracy slider, but I really don't need that type of accuracy for this. So I'm just going to use the defaults. Select OK and use a projected surface. From there, I can go in, turn back off the original scan mesh that I don't need. You can see I did make it extend past the surface, and it's also below the surface. So this is where a surface intersect or a feature intersect command could work, or if it's just one feature, you can use the surface replace command like I'm using here. For one face, it works really nice. You pick the face you want to replace, you pick the face you want to replace it with, and voila, you've got the new part with that top surface really reverse engineered off the original cover. And I'll even say off the original cover that was poorly scanned, which is often the case with a lot of scans. regardless of the scanner type. So I'm just putting some rounds on here now, finishing the part up. I could get fancy and put some continuous curvature, some variable radius rounds on here, but realistically the plate, the side plate cover that I scanned really is one kind of continuous curve around a freeformed surface. So I like taking this up until failure or something, see how far it goes, and then going a little bit back down. It's probably not that well rounded in the original model, but I'll go with it because I like it. And it's starting to look pretty good. So there's a few more things I want to do. It is a red Honda SL70, so I might as well go with red. It's a little bright, but it is my Honda red. So let me get back to work. I'll go ahead and shell out the model. And we'll go in and make it 80 thousandths thick. Somewhere close to what it is if I put micrometers on it. And from there, I can go in and again utilize my original mesh to locate that attachment boss, and it goes through a rubber grommet hole. So again, let me just go in and show the original mesh. We'll just revolve this and move on. I can see my nub's way too skinny. Really need to go in there and fatten the bottom of that revolve sketch, but you get the idea. I could put rounds around my boss on the outside and such, but what I'm really after here is finishing with the surface deviation. Now, this is a really nice command, and they have put something like this inside the new 2020 SOLIDWORKS, but it doesn't quite work as nice as this one. We have more variables that we can tune in on for its accuracy, and it just gives you a little bit more color charting here. So again, I can just come in and see my model, change any of the variables over here if I wanted to focus in on how accurate it was. But again, what I was after here is really reverse engineering the top surface of that model that had the ugly sticker and the poorly scanned holes in the top. So there you have it, Geomagic for SolidWorks for reverse engineering a 2000, or I should say a 1972 SL70. That's what the bike is, 1972 Honda SL70 side plate cover. Thanks once again for watching.